SM groups are no stranger to remaking K-pop classics of older artists from the same company. But when RIIZE came out with Hug, a remake of another K-pop classic by the same group, something just didn't feel right. And I think I know why. Let me get this out of the way because I know I'm gonna get flamed for it in the comments. I don't hate RIIZE. I actually think they're talented and I played Get a Guitar quite a lot when it came out. I also consider Eunseok my K-pop crush of 5th gen, so I can't really say that RIIZE hate has a place here. More importantly, all of the criticisms I have are with the company, not the group. As a rookie group, SM dictates the music and creative direction of RIIZE for the most part. I'm also not Min Hee-jin. Any K-pop group can have a Y2K concept and recreate something from that decade. When it comes to any remake or inspiration taken from previous songs and music, however, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And in my opinion, RIIZE's Y2K branding specific to TVXQ nostalgia doesn't work in the way it's supposed to. RIIZE being cute, performing and promoting Hug should be harmless, but because SM is SM and loves to sabotage their groups, the remake, merchandise, stage presence, and marketing of RIIZE in this Hug era leaves a poor taste in people's mouths, specifically Cassie's. Secondly, I think there's a quality issue with this remake. A remake can feel refreshing, show a side of an artist we haven't seen. That is why so many remakes from SM have worked. SM entertainment and song remakes virtually go hand in hand. It would be impossible for me to be a fan of any SM group if my problem is solely RIIZE remaking a classic song. Mirotic, the biggest song from TVXQ, is in fact a remake. When a remake is done wrong though, it feels derivative, as if the heart of the original is missing. TVXQ and RIIZE are singing the same song, they're dancing the same steps, but you only feel soul in one version. This isn't a problem of talent. RIIZE has talent. This is a problem of execution and SM not understanding what made the original Hug and TVXQ's 5 so loved in the first place. Worst of all, SM Entertainment spent decades working overtime and doing everything in their power to make the public forget TVXQ as a 5-member group. TVXQ is 2, no matter the degree of their history, success, contributions, and legacy as a quintet. But after realizing nostalgia is one hell of a drug and failing miserably at making people forget OT5, SM is now capitalizing on TVXQ's success by trying to recreate their image with RIIZE. So the problem with RIIZE and SM's attempt at recreating classic K-pop nostalgia is twofold. RIIZE's Hug remake comes off uninspired because it's too focused on mirroring the aesthetics and choreography of the original. I see costumes and overproduction rather than an inspired, authentic performance. When SM recreates K-pop nostalgia through TVXQ, they do so without giving visibility to the original artist. TVXQ as a duo were notoriously underpromoted in SM. They had a 5-year gap between their Korean comebacks, and the promotions they had in the last year, including their RIIZE collaboration and Mama stage, really only happened because of their 20th anniversary. Otherwise, it's a tumbling weed wasteland for TVXQ. So it's very problematic of SM to exploit their legacy to push new groups while the original group lacks visibility that the company should give them. And then the concept they do use from TVXQ is the one with 3 members that SM got blacklisted from the industry. Aside from my gut feeling, I rewatched these performances and took the time to analyze what feels off about RIIZE's remake. So to sum it all up, Hug is a youthful concept performed by teenagers. The choreography is an accessory, not the main piece of the concept. Hug is vocals focused and takes strong partnership between members to produce those harmonies and not overpower each other. Hug requires stage presence that looks natural, so when they sing, it feels like it's from their heart to yours. Let's break down the original concept, what it was and what worked. TVXQ were all teenagers when they debuted with Hug. That sounds like an insignificant detail, but it's actually an inherent part of the original concept. The lyrics, outfits, and performances evoke a boy next door charm. It's very cute, it's very pure, and the groups being all teenage boys made it more believable. That is not to say that you can't pull off this song as an adult. I've heard gorgeous renditions of Hug from older idols. But it's a different vibe, and that's okay. When I analyzed the performances of RIIZE and TVXQ for this video, I had a light bulb moment. Because this is K-pop, we think choreography must always be precise, or else it will lack energy and charisma. But dance wasn't always the focal point of Hug. They still had to get their formations down and be in sync, especially for that dance break. But as you see here, it's not perfect, and interestingly, the camera pans more to their faces throughout the song. Most of these performances were live, which meant they could sound like dog shit if they didn't focus on vocals. One person out of key and their harmony is toast. TVXQ debuted during a time K-pop was stagnant. Most popular groups had disbanded, there weren't too many artists that took off, and SM was broke. They shelved so many group projects and TVXQ almost didn't happen. So when they appeared on the scene in 2003 and the Korean economy was still recovering from the worst recession since the 50s, they had to give people a good reason to support them, buy their music, buy concert tickets, buy balloons for those concerts, buy paper for fan mail, buy a razor to write the fan mail with their blood. And what better way to do that than be 5 attractive young guys who dance well, have chemistry, and pull off a cappella, and do it live? That's a concert worth my money. It's not just having stage presence, rather it's how they use it. The essence of the song is young and cute. I'm certain that SM instructed them to look a certain way for this concept, and they do. They look cute, but it's not overdone. Their body language isn't over the top. They give the occasional wink, but their stage presence looks natural. Now let's see the difference with RIIZE's version. The best way I can explain RIIZE's version of Hug is basically they perform it like it's opposite day. If Hug is a boy next door teenager concept, it's adults doing it. RIIZE are a young group, but they look like guys in college, and they just have this young adult vibe. If the choreography is an accessory to the concept, they make it the focus. If vocals are the focal point, they tone it down. If the song requires a soft, natural cuteness through stage presence, they exaggerate it. It feels like SM gave them the song, told them it's an aegyo concept, and they just rolled with it. When they try to evoke cuteness, they do it with campy facial expressions and big hand gestures, and it just ends up looking forced. The uniforms and stage design attempt to evoke that boy next door youth, but it only reminds me that RIIZE are adults because their boy aegyo isn't convincing. It's giving 30-year-old actors auditioning for high school roles. The only one I think pulls off this concept is Sohee. He has a great balance of natural-looking aegyo and the right focus when he sings. Nothing he does is exaggerated, and his stage presence looks like the most fluid out of everyone. He understood the assignment. Aside from RIIZE's misguided stage presence, the dance-focused direction for Hug actually created a lot of problems for this remake. Unfortunately, this commitment to dance translated to other parts of performance where it shouldn't have, one of them being body language. So the original has moments where the members interact and look at each other, but RIIZE treated these moments as choreography to memorize. They're paying more attention to counts than emotion, which is why hand gestures and facial expressions look forced. Every little detail is choreographed when the song has moments for improv and freestyle. They also added more choreography in parts where TVXQ is sitting or standing in place. This was a purposeful choice in the original to allow the members to sing their parts smoothly. So RIIZE literally cannot go full out in singing because of this imposed dance priority. And because they exert themselves from dancing, they have to sing with pre-recorded vocals or a lot of playback, and when you do that with a song where vocals are the selling point, it feels less authentic and underwhelming. You can definitely perform a song as a tribute with same styling and energy as the original. Twice did this with 10 Minutes by Lee. The difference is that it suits the people performing it. I'm not a TWICE stan, but I like that song and saw this cover, and their styling and stage presence weren't tacky at all. Ironically, RIIZE has shown they can do a tribute justice when it suits their style and brings out their best qualities. Look at the difference in their cover of EXO's Growl, where they're wearing school uniforms, but the concept is more mature. Ultimately, this remake feels forced onto the group. RIIZE looks unnatural, doing a concept that's below their age range and not delivering on the selling point of the song. RIIZE, in my opinion, started strong in their Y2K concept when they debuted with Get a Guitar. Get a Guitar felt fresh. The Y2K inspiration was clearly there, and the song played to their strengths. I could tell they were dance-focused, with powerful choreography that put emphasis on performance, but it was also done in a way that felt local. Like cool kids in a garage dancing to a boombox with instruments they throw into the mix, because they're that cool. But then something weird started happening with their marketing. I'm trying to jog my memory, it's at the tip of my tongue, but I think it's related to Wonbin. Nah, it's gotta be something else, but all of these thumbnails and intense focus on Wonbin were giving pussycat dolls. What was alarming though, was the growing parallels between Wonbin and Jaejoong. Not only was SM pushing Wonbin to the general public, they've done so with Jaejoong's aesthetics. See, with Taehyung, he facially resembled Jaejoong. That was the focal point of most discussions about their similarities. They might have worn similar things or had similar tattoo placements, but aesthetic-wise, Taehyung has been his own person. Wonbin though, it's like SM is doing it on purpose and not being subtle about it. Yes, anyone can wear a tank top and a beanie and have long hair. The difference here is that you can't shake off the parallels. Jaejoong and Wonbin were/are the faces of their respective groups, with shocking visuals that lock your attention. When SM purposely puts Wonbin in the center of a TVXQ song, has him sing Jaejoong's lines, and lead the group like Jaejoong, you can't convince me it's a coincidence. It's not just TVXQ fans who've observed this, people have brought it up to Jaejoong directly.
제보를 잇는 SM 족보가 있어요. 누구라고 생각하십니까?
제가 되게 유심히 봤던 친구는 라이즈의 원빈이라는 친구가
SM Entertainment already lost their shame in 2009, but they managed to be even more shameful by reproducing Jaejoong's looks over and over again, despite giving him and former TVXQ members absolute hell for almost 20 years. The company is the entire reason why RIIZE's TVXQ core concept feels so tasteless. Wonbin is looking like Jaejoong cosplay. His visuals, his style, his position, and now he's literally performing in Jaejoong's role in TVXQ songs. That is the difference between inspired and derivative. When you borrow too many things from one source of inspiration, it makes you lack identity. Jaejoong has also been considered an ice prince because his stunning visuals come off cold and unapproachable on the stage and in pictures, so people don't realize how much of an unfiltered crackhead, warm person he really is. And SM wanted the exact same image for Wonbin at debut. Not before long though, Wonbin showed his genuine character and he seems to be more cute and much warmer than how he was meant to appear. Wonbin shouldn't feel like a recycled Jaejoong. If there's any idol from the past though that Wonbin takes after that feels more authentic, I would say it's Kai. His stage presence during Growl matches that mature hint of sexy persona that Kai captures on the stage. It's interesting that Kai is also a center in his group, with an image that contrasts with his shy, introverted personality, but for some reason, SM picks Jaejoong. According to the rules of nostalgia, 10 more years have to pass for people to crave EXO aesthetics and new groups. Aside from the gimmicky Jaejoong aesthetics pushed onto Wonbin, SM forgets another quality about Jaejoong that's solidified his growing legacy. Yes, he was the original visual shock and his face became a blueprint for the ideal male K-pop beauty standards, but in TVXQ, he served as the main vocalist with a beautiful range and skill at such a young age. He carried so much of the OT5 discography, which is why he's such an unforgettable part of TVXQ's history. Wonbin, on the other hand, is not a vocal-focused idol as Jaejoong was since his debut. His idol qualities emphasize dance and performance, and while he's a good singer, the two are just incomparable at the moment. If SM is so obsessed with pushing Wonbin as a new Jaejoong, then at least give him more vocal training and show him as a vocal idol alongside Sohee, RIIZE's main vocal, so that the image is more believable. The discussion of RIIZE's vocals sheds light on the problems with marketing K-pop nostalgia. Nostalgia isn't exclusive to aesthetics and fashion, especially for music. Second-gen K-pop has one feature that captivates fans to this day, and that is live vocals. Lip-syncing and backtracks still existed, but the prevalence of live singing in this time is undeniable. So when they give a TVXQ song to a group without the technique and skill to do it justice, it's going to cause backlash and make the group look bad. When SM puts them in school uniforms and instructs them to act like OG TVXQ, they force people to compare the two groups. If they're supposed to look and act like TVXQ, then I'm gonna expect the vocals to match up. RIIZE aren't bad singers. They are not tone deaf, and there's plenty of performances that prove they can sing well. Their vocals are just a little premature at the moment. They need to improve their technique to sing outside their comfort zone. TVXQ has become so hard to commemorate because SM made it so hard. The company can't re-envision TVXQ respectfully because they've been nothing but disrespectful to the group. After JYJ filed a lawsuit over the slave contract back in 2009, the company essentially got them deplatformed from Korean broadcast.
제가 사실 6년간 방송 활동을 못했다고 몇 번 오늘 오프닝부터 얘기를 했지만 사실은 되게 가수로서 대한민국의 가수로서 대한민국의 방송에 전혀 나갈 수 없다는 점은 좀 여러 가지로 많이 힘든 건 사실이에요.
이제 뭐 연예인 축구단들끼리 대회를 하면 꼭 뭐 연예가 중계 그 당시에 한밤의 TV 연예 촬영을 해. 그러고 이제 각자 뭐 그때 당시에 배우들 뭐 아이돌들 딱 심지어 여기서 못 나가는 거 알고 있었으니까. 근데 이제 그 얘기를 해도 이건 나갈 수 있대. 그래서 해달래. 인터뷰 뭐 정성껏 하죠. 역시 안 나오고 저만 딱 커트. 녹화를 했는데도 안 된 경우가 너무 많으니까.
And when JYJ re-established themselves in Japan, the place that they can promote more freely in, and they already had a large fan base, SM also interfered with that because they didn't want AVEX to sign JYJ while also working with SM artists. So JYJ were cut from their two biggest resources and forced to promote themselves independently. It took them 4 years to be able to perform in Japan while still being barred from Korean broadcast up until only recently. Blacklisting JYJ from TV also allowed SM to control the narrative about the group's conflict with them, when JYJ hardly had a platform to tell their side of the story. To avoid responsibility for their abusive contract practices, SM regarded JYJ as disgraced ex-members who will taint TVXQ's name if the company doesn't strip them from public memory. It's become obvious that SM does not actually give a shit about TVXQ, especially with the current members. They just wanted to kill JYJ's success because SM couldn't have it. If JYJ were a liability for TVXQ's reputation and they could badmouth Homin on mainstream media, I don't see why an NDA cannot resolve that. Ultimately, they got JYJ blacklisted because of the story SM was selling to the public, and that is, JYJ existed because of SM, and they had nothing without them. JYJ leaving the most powerful K-pop company meant that they had to fail. Because if JYJ stayed successful, and maybe even topped Homin, their narrative falls apart. So SM must have felt threatened by JYJ to do the thing that would inevitably suppress their mainstream presence. So now, 15 years later, SM are pretending none of that blacklisting happened, and they're just coincidentally recreating the aesthetics of former SM idols who they still refuse to acknowledge.
라이즈 후배 아닌가요?
그쵸.
전화 되나요 혹시?
전화요? 몰라요. 그림자도 못 봤어요. 그림자도 보고 싶어.
As for the duo, their visibility in Korea has been in decline since at least 2015, when RIIZE's God had virtually no promotions. Super Junior is a good example of a veteran group that has still kept a strong media presence in Korea, and their case exemplifies how TVXQ exist in the background. People know TVXQ's name and you see them now and then, but they don't get a lot of buzz. Even when their 20th anniversary happened, they got overshadowed by other SM groups because their comebacks were scheduled on on the same timeline as TVXQ's activities. And unlike BoA or Girls' Generation during their 10th anniversary, they only got a music video drop from the SM channel, and that was pretty much it. No documentary, special video, or anything that indicated special attention to TVXQ at this time. The promotions happened, once again, like they were in the background. And on top of all that, SM doesn't even do a good job of commemorating TVXQ as two. Most TVXQ covers and remakes are from OT5 songs. SM literally had the chance to showcase Homin's best music for their anniversary tour, but they made half the setlist OT5 hits. You could argue this is a fair split between OT5 and Homin before you realize the setlist already accounts for the songs of their new album, so there should have been way more OT2 songs if the tour is literally named 20 and 2. In conclusion, SM has damaged TVXQ in every single way that should put them in K-pop jail. They destroyed OT5 by overworking them with little compensation. They worsened the conflict by erasing ex-members from mainstream media. They've underpromoted duo TVXQ for a decade. And now they're using OT5 memory to bring buzz to their new boy group, a move that is ironically preserving TVXQ's legacy as a quintet. That's a consequence of SM's never-ending Jaejoong obsession. They don't want him, but they can't quit him.